Everyone, how's it going tonight? My name's Spencer, and this is Cory.
Hey,
Welcome to Best Ball Draft Addicts. So today's a very special episode where we are coming on in a Sunday afternoon. Cory, you get to actually be in your office today, which is great.
yeah, this is exciting.
I see you're kind of scrambling here. You're like, new environment. What do I do?
No, I wasn't ready.
So today we're going to be discussing players in rounds 13 and 14, and then jump into a draft as we move along with this Dominate series that we are hoping to finish up this week. And then on starting Thursday, we've got the NFL draft. And by our draft we do Friday night, we're going to know a lot of rookie destinations. And then the real shebang will get going in the next few days after that. So I'm really looking forward to the main slate opening up, start doing some millionaires, some puppies, and really get into the real draft season as opposed to this warm-up that we're in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait.
Now, yesterday, there was a pretty decent trade that happened. You want to tell us about it real quick?
Yeah, sure. Last night, it was around 8 o'clock or so. The New York Giants traded Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals for the 10th overall pick. Now, Dexter Lawrence doesn't really have a lot of fantasy impact. However, it could have an impact on the draft. There's been a lot of speculation that the Giants are really in on Jeremiah Love. Who isn't? But Jeremiah Love potentially, for all you Scattaboo owners, cover your ears. But then also Jordan Tyson is linked to them quite a bit as well. So this could make them more, because they do want to go defense, I'm sure. But now they have the 5th and the 10th pick. So it could potentially swing them to, if Jeremiah Love is there at 5, then they might do it. If Tyson is there at 10, they might do it, or they could trade up. So that's the fantasy impact. It was interesting to me. I'm always kind of interested in these pre-draft blockbuster trades and the motivations behind them. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will. Absolutely. I mean, anytime that you've got trades happening, like you said, with involving draft picks here this close before the actual draft, that these teams got their wheels churning, and
Right.
Who knows the implications. But
yeah, I mean, everybody, yeah, this is silly. I've always felt like this is lying season. This is silly week. You're going to hear the craziest stuff and these analysts that come out with all this junk. They're being fed of it. Don't listen to it. Don't believe it. It's all junk to throw people off the set. It's lying season. So don't fall for it with your drafts.
Well, like I said, we don't have that much longer that we're going to have to deal with this, and then we'll get into the real thing. Yes. So before we jump in and look at these players, Cory, why don't you go ahead and talk about our partnership with Underdog?
Yes. So this Best Ball Draft Addict, we are very, very proud partners with Underdog Fantasy. Spencer and I have been using the platform for a long time for our Best Ball drafts, and we are very excited to partner with them. It's on the Instagram account. The link, you can find it there. But if you go to underdogfantasy.com, and if you are a new user, if you have an existing account, you won't be able to take advantage of the promo. But the link is in our bio. On our Instagram account, or you can go to underdogfantasy.com, sign up with the promo code BBDA for Best Ball Draft Addict, and that will net you $50 in free entries after you play your first $5. So thanks to all the awesome folks in Underdog. We love Underdog.
Absolutely. All right. Well, without further ado, let us jump into tonight's players. Okay. So tonight, as I said, we're going to be going through rounds 13 and 14. Actually, let's see. This is perfect here. So the list of players that we're going to be looking at tonight, it will include 4 quarterbacks, 9 running backs, 6 wide receivers, and 5 tight ends. So a lot of running backs here in these rounds 13 and 14. Whenever you have waited and you're filling in your RBs 5 and 6, this is the range that we're going to be looking at here. Or you really pushed it and you're looking at your 3s and 4s. But if you're doing that, it's probably not great. Yeah, these really should be looking at least probably your 4 or 5 at minimum. There are some stack pieces from these rounds. So tonight there's a few more than the last time. So in Carolina, we've got Bryce and Brooks, who are both going in round 13. Jacksonville, we've got Brenton Strange and Travis Hunter, also both going in round 13. We've got Charbonnet and his new backup, Emanuel Wilson, round 13, 14. Jacoby Brissett, which is going to be an interesting one. Right. I mean, because, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen there? There's going to be something happen in Seattle.
Sure.
I doubt week 1 we're going to see Emanuel Wilson as the starter, but who knows?
You never know.
You never know. Jacoby Brissett and James Conner for Arizona, both going in 14. And then Hunter Henry and Kayshon Boutte, both going in round 14. So, anything stand out to you here, Corey, from these rounds?
I don't hate the Strange Hunter. I think Travis Hunter actually could end up being a low-key value where he's going, but it's certainly not the sexiest group of players here, but these are players that you got to draft them, and if you hit the right one, it could be huge. Like championships and can be won in the later rounds. Winning these things, Spencer, you know this too, is value. If you could do all the stacks you want, all the correlations, all the research, but at the end of the day, value is king. Value is what's going to win these tournaments when you hit big on someone.
Yep, absolutely. Well, let's look at that first someone right now who a lot of people hit big with last year, Mr. Daniel Jones of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, Daniel Jones was honestly a godsend for the Colts last year once he went there. A year ago at this time, we were, is it Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones? No one really wanted, but Richardson was still going above a lot of the time. And then, because pretty much people didn't believe in Daniel Jones after his run with the Giants the last couple of years. But then he showed, hey, you know what? I'm actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
And he was good for them. And then when he went down, it really showed his value because the team crumbled without him. And they had to bring in old man Phillip Rivers to close out the year, which was insanity that in 2024 or 2025, we were talking about Phillip Rivers. Now, with Daniel Jones this season, is he someone coming off of his late injury at the end of the year that you look at going back to?
Yeah, I think he was a rock solid QB1 before he got hurt. Now, that was going up against some real competition too. So he looked great in that system. Really the only big change was Michael Pittman is gone. But other than that, Josh Downs. We talked about him the other day. So that's really the only big one that happened, but otherwise pieces are still in place. For me, it just all comes down to that Achilles injury and how he comes back from it. But Colts were confident enough to sign him to a 2-year deal and bring him back. So I think you could draft with confidence here.
Yeah, honestly, the only thing that could potentially hinder his fantasy value is if he's not as mobile recovering from the Achilles injury, because he has part of what's added to his fantasy is the fact that he does have some sneaky mobility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was always his thing. And they paid Alec Pierce, so he's back. Josh Downs is there, and Tyler Warren, if he takes that next step up that we're all hoping he will, then Daniel Jones could be a nice value here.
And let's look at what his draft season has done. It looks like pretty much it's kind of rose steadily as he gets a little healthier. People are a little bit more confident in drafting him than they were early, right out of the gates.
Right.
And anyone that happens to jump on here and watching, just to let you guys know, we will be jumping into a draft once we go through these players. So, all right, next up, one of my favorite running backs, Mr. Zach Charbonnet, also coming off of an end of the season injury with the torn ACL. And the big thing is going to be, when will he be back? Is it going to be the start of the year? Is it going to be a few weeks into the year? I will say this, I have been a fan of him, and he has been productive and a really good running back, even alongside of Kenneth Walker for the last couple of years. Now with Walker gone, we already talked about Emanuel Wilson, who we'll bring up again, who was brought in. there's not a whole lot behind him as it's today. Now, we'll see what happens in the draft, because I would say most likely they'll look at addressing running back in the draft. We'll see, right? But I'm a fan of Charbonnet. I like mixing him in these rounds. What about you, Core?
I'm not as bullish on him as you are. Last year, honestly, him and this come from me. I'm Mr. Ken Walker, but neither one of them were great. What kept Charbonnet afloat was touchdowns. He was the clear goal line guy. I don't remember what his yards per carry or anything like that. We're not this kind of show where we got a bunch of analytics to back but he really kind of underwhelmed. And then coming off the ACL, they were confident enough letting Walker go, but I think that was more financial than it was the confidence in Charbonnet. But to your point, they haven't really addressed the position outside of Emanuel Wilson. We'll see what they do in the draft. But Charbonnet, it's not necessarily for me coming back and like when he's playing, but it's more bad. And Stefon Bell, if anybody listens to, I'm sure you've heard the name Stefon Bell. She's always said, and I agree with her, it's all about coming back to performance, not for playing. So he could be back week 1. 8 guys come back from ACLs in that time frame all the time. But when will he be ready to carry the load? Now, if there was no injury at all, and with Walker gone, the injury in the running back room is where it's at, or George Halani, then Charbonnet would probably be, I mean, we're talking top 7 rounds, maybe.
Oh, yeah. He would
probably be round 5,
yeah,
something like that. He would be a probably easy RB2, drafted as an RB2. But with the injury baked in and everything, I think this is solid value. I'm probably not clicking on it a ton, but I totally get it.
Well, I'll tell you this, Core. You said that, yeah, he is very good at touchdowns. But whenever it comes to actually his production last year, so he was pretty darn good, to be honest with you. 10 weeks he had of scoring 10 points or more. And he had a few weeks where he still had 15 or more, several of those. And that's exactly what you want. So again, to me, this is the perfect guy to just take a chance on late that can offer an extremely high return.
Yeah, I mean, he averaged 4 yards a carry, but that for me, I'm seeing a lot of he hit 100 yards once all season, and that was against the Panthers in late January, when I don't even know if they were playing for anything at that point. Oh no, wait, that was playoffs, wasn't it?
That was championship week. It was championship week.
No, it was.
He had a monster week in championship week.
But
2 touchdowns.
So I mean, he had 12 touchdowns. Is like when you were talking about how great he was week to week. He had 12 touchdowns. I mean, like I don't know if you can bake that in. And like 100-yard game all season. Honestly, he had 1 game all year on the ground. He had 2 games over 80 yards all year. So
yeah, but that's playing along Ken Walker, which is a huge thing.
I get it, but Ken Walker wasn't like super great either.
I know, but he's going to be out there, and they're giving him carries. So that's on limited work. He did all of that production. Charbonnet is just a good running back, just and simple. To me, it's just a matter of injury.
He's fine. I don't think he's as good as you think he is. So.
Yeah, we're pretty clearly, I think, higher of him, but that's all right. Okay, so this is his draft stock, and as you see, a really nice spike once Ken Walker left, a really big spike once Ken Walker left. And then after that spike, he sort of settled back down as people have kind of gauged the injuries. So this is right where I want to be. I want to keep him low.
Sure.
All right. Next up, one of my guys, Mr. Bryce Young, who I kind of have had a irrational like for, because his production has not returned the fact of me being as into him. And last year, I thought we were going to see a bigger leap forward after he really looked good at the end of the season 2 years ago. And then that bigger leap forward in fantasy really didn't happen. He only had 1 massive game last year and really underperformed in almost every other week, even with adding the piece of Tet McMillan. See, I thought Tet was also going to be a really good piece for him. And he is, but it just didn't help raise his fantasy ceiling. With that said, he is going into year 4. This, I put it on here. This is a very prove it situation for him. I don't want to say it's his make or break for his career, but we're getting kind of close to that. So, do you think that there's a chance that maybe Bryce Young this year can finally move forward?
Yeah, it's not make or break for his career, but it's make or break for his career with the Panthers, is what I would say. Because then he'll have 1 year left. If they make now, in his defense, they made the playoffs.
Right.
They won.
Oh,
They won
yeah.
their division and they made the playoffs. So yes,
And that playoff game was a great game too.
yeah,
Versus
yeah.
the Rams. Oh.
So Brian, you can see, I mean, this guy was the number 1 recruit in the country coming out of high school. This guy was the number 1 quarterback in college football. I mean, like he was the number 1 overall pick in the NFL. There's so many reasons to believe that he could have that. Now, is it going to be with another team after this year? You know, a la Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, something like that. Yeah, it could be. I think it's fine to bet on Bryce Young. It's not, I mean, he's going, I'm sorry, I can't see the ADP. Is it 147? There it is. Yeah. So 147. So I think that's fair. And it's not like you're spending you're making a huge commitment. You're drafting him clearly as a QB, back in QB2, or maybe even a rock solid QB3 if you're going with a 3 build. But yeah, the talent's always been there. He just has to put it together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so we'll just see if that happens. Will I mix him in this year? Yes. Will he be my highest drafted quarterback like he was last year? No.
At least that's not the plan. But
that's not the plan. The reason why that was just such late value last year. And again, the potential increase that I thought would happen that did not.
Yeah, sometimes those exposures can tell I don't want to say a lie, but like maybe not the true story. Like for me, my number 1 running back based on exposure was Kareem Hunt last year because I took him with my last pick almost every single time. But that was because it was my literal last pick. That wasn't because I had the most confidence in him.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Next up, Mr. Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens. So used to Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews were the instant 1-2 for years. Mark Andrews has dipped in his production. But one thing that I do find very interesting is that the Ravens last year, whenever they re-signed him and gave him a contract extension, and then this year not get rid of, but let Isaiah Likely go to the Giants. And now Mark Andrews is the clear tight end there again. And I still like Lamar. We've got a new offensive system. We'll see how they use him. I think Mark Andrews is a good name to click on late as your tight end 2 in a potential 3 tight build. But even if you close out your tight ends with him as a second and you have a good number 1, I think I feel confident enough with that.
Yeah, it's not a sexy option at all. Didn't have a great year last year, but yeah, when I think everybody expected Andrews to fade into the sunset and Isaiah Likely would be the guy in Baltimore. And when they chose Mark Andrews over Isaiah Likely, I think a lot of people were surprised, but he's still there. Like you said, he's the number 1 tight end option. And I'm terrified that they're going to take Kenyon Sadiq at 14 and then just make our lives that much more difficult. But for now, he's the guy there. And yeah, I mean, it's a boring pick, but
yeah,
it should be because you're tight end 2, you could do a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And as far as drafters are concerned, yeah, it's pretty much he had a little spike and around whenever Likely left, and then he's pretty much stayed, more or less.
I expect it to stay the same.
All right, next man up, Tyrone Tracy of the New York Football Giants, former Purdue Boilermaker Tyrone Tracy. Mm-hmm. So Tyrone is going into his 3rd season now. Former wide receiver converted to running back, who I've been a fan of. Now, we were just talking about this earlier. You were right before we got into the players with all the potential pieces that could move with the New York Giants. And obviously, if they go out and get Jeremiah Love, Tyrone Tracy is a giant nothing burger. It will just destroy his fantasy potential. But as we sit today with Cam Scatterboo and himself as the 2 running backs there, I do like Tracy still as a potential late piece to add in. because he did even show last year he still has that big play potential. And I think there could be some sort of untapped receiving role that we haven't seen fully develop yet. But I don't know if he's going to have a chance to see if we're going to have a chance to actually see it develop. We may not. So he's not someone that I'm going to look to click on a lot. But right now, I will still occasionally mix him in whenever I feel the need.
Yeah, he had 740 rushing yards. I mean, a lot of his final stat line was propped up by week 18, where he had 103 rushing yards, and he had 9 targets, caught 8 balls for 56 and a touchdown. So that inflates it a little bit.
But that right there kind of shows too that potential ceiling I'm talking about.
And I'm fine with this. If I don't think you have to handcuff or anything like that.
No.
But he does have some standalone value, especially if they don't take Jeremiah Love. Scattaboo is his play style has, maybe might translate to some injuries. So I think it's fine to take him. And with the chance that he has the occasional week, or if there's an injury to Scattaboo, or if Scattaboo doesn't come back from the injury 100%. But if Jeremiah Love goes, or they draft Jeremiah Love at 5, Tyrone Tracy's a nothing.
Yep, absolutely. And then here's what his draft stock has gone. It's just shot downwards after that. He got the end of season spike, and then it's just gradually moved down. And it's to this 150 spot, which does again make him at least worth the potential click.
Right.
All right. Next up, this one could be massively raised in stock depending on landing spot. It's Stefon Diggs, former Buffalo Bill, New England Patriot, Minnesota Viking, etc. Now, last year he was really good for Drake May, and it was a piece that the Patriots needed. But what, of course, always comes rearing its ugly head with Stefon Diggs, and that is he gets in his own way, right? He has. I mentioned this before. He has a very entitled opinion of himself, which again I think is a good thing for a alpha wide receiver, but it's caused problems in many of his destinations, and usually he leaves there after a controversy. So now, as he's going into his age 33 season, who is going to bring him in, and whoever does bring him in, what sort of role are they going to be willing to give him? I think that he's late enough in the draft that it is worth taking the gamble on wherever he goes, but he's not what he once was. Do you think that you'll jump in on Diggs, or are you just pretty much wait and see what happens?
I think now is not a bad time to take a stab on him before we know the landing spot, if there even is one. That there is a non-zero chance that he doesn't sign with anybody because he has the impending legal issues, and New England signed him to a 3-year deal. Now they structured to where they could get out of it after 1 year, and they pulled the trigger on that pretty quick. I mean, looking at his numbers, I honestly but he had 100 on 102 targets. He caught 85 balls for 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's a great season, especially for where he was being drafted. That he still has some left in the tank. It's just the off-field stuff, and like you said, with his personality, you have to determine is the juice worth the squeeze. Mm-hmm. But right now, it's kind of similar to where some of these other guys, any free agents right now, they're not signing because teams want to wait till after the draft at this point. So this could be the last time, here soon to get him, before if he goes somewhere where has a clear path to being the top guy or maybe the second passing option. You never know. So I think it's worth it right now.
Yeah, because he will shoot up. Look at this stock as it's just dipped and fell. This is at the lowest point that he's ever been. 155 is his current ADP as we sit today. And yeah, so he is a good piece to mix in right now. And just for anyone else who's watching, just want to remind everyone, once we get through these players, we're going to jump into a live draft. So that'll be coming up here pretty soon. All right, next guy. Brenton Strange of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brenton Strange was very, very good last year in his time that he played. He had a midseason injury. I forget what it was. He missed a few weeks. But I was very impressed by Brenton Strange. And he's someone who I think that this year he's going to still keep that same role in a good offense. I'm going to be into drafting him. He's not a stack only piece. I think he's just a good tight end 2 option. And I would have no problems with anyone who wants to take him over Mark Andrews. So, yeah, what about you?
I'm 100% agree. I think he has standalone value, great stack option. Him and Lawrence seem to have a really nice chemistry. He was playing very well before the injury, and he came back from it and still performed. So I think he doesn't have that 152 touchdown ceiling, but he's, a 5 catch, 70 yards and a touchdown guy, and that plays every single week.
That plays so
for
good.
A tight end. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's those, and if he finishes as a tight end 1, not the tight end 1, that's not his ceiling, but as a tight end 1, that wouldn't be surprising at all. I think I really like the spot, the ADP, and it's a pretty solid value.
Yeah, could not agree more. And look at his draft stock. I mean, it's gone down and continuing to go down, and I think that's a good buying opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Especially if for some reason, like if Brian Thomas Jr. ends up getting dealt, it's not looking like it, but if he does, or if Travis Hunter really doesn't play as many receiver snaps then that's a lot of targets that are open.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, next man up, the potential, or maybe I shouldn't even say potential, the number 1 pick in this upcoming draft, Fernando Mendoza, Heisman winner from Indiana. Kirk Cousins 2.0 question mark. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But the thing is, I obviously, as I've talked about, I don't watch college football, but of course I heard all about him and I have seen highlights. I like what I see, but I don't really know what it's going to translate to in the NFL. As we've talked about it early in this draft season so far, it's pretty much, I'm more of a Kirk Cousins drafter, but I expect at some point because Cousins goes way later than Mendoza. But at some point, I'm sure that Mendoza will take over for Cousins. I'm putting the over under at 6.5. So by week 7, I think Mendoza will take over. That's just how these things go. As good as it would be for him to sit back and take a full season to sit behind Cousins, and I think that would be best for his long-term development, that's not the way of the world. The hype in the media will come clamoring, and unless Kirk Cousins has led the Raiders to like a 5-1 start or something, I don't see how they don't look to make that switch somewhere around that week 6 or 7.
Yeah, it's clear that last year they tried to adjust the culture and try to have a culture shift with hiring Pete Carroll. Clearly that did not work at all. And so they're going another route. They hired, oh my gosh, Kubiak. So yeah, and now whenever Fernando Mendoza would give his post-game interviews, the first thing that popped in my head every single time was, dude, sounds like Temu Kirk Cousins. And sure enough, the Raiders signed Kirk Cousins, and that's clearly mentor Mendoza. Even if, yes, Mendoza does get thrust in mid-season, Kirk Cousins has shown that he's okay being the mentor. Outside of like an Aaron Rodgers, or a Brett Favre before him, that never really had much interest in being a mentor for the successor. Kirk Cousins does, and he accepts that role. And if he does have to relinquish it to Mendoza, then he'll still be there in the room to help him. So I hate the Raiders. I love how bad they are all the time. But so far, when it comes to the quarterback, they've handled it in a smart way.
And if you watched Quarterback, the NFL show Quarterback, with Kirk Cousins as one of the people that they followed, you will know what this is. Kirk Cousins' personality. He is kind of the exact opposite of Rodgers and Favre personality wise. Cousins is a really good guy who, yeah, he will not hold a grudge. He will be happy to see Fernando have success. And he's one of those guys that I think would celebrate him taking his job. And you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's Kirk's personality. So And as
Not
far
to
as
mention, he's just he's getting paid again, has a Hall of Fame agent, and so
oh yeah,
I mean, yeah, if Cousins gets benched, nobody's gonna feel bad for Kirk Cousins,
including himself. So,
yeah.
and then here is Mendoza's draft. You see, it's gone down. It's been consistently going down. As I think a lot of people feel the same thing that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, and the from a basketball perspective, the risk is clearly you might not get anything because if Kirk Cousins, pulls a Sam
Does
Darnold or
right?
Daniel Jones or something like that, and has them playoff contention and keeps the job, there's a non-zero chance that he's a zero on the year. So there's risk baked in.
Yep. Okay. Next up, speaking of risk baked in. We've got Mr. Jonathon Brooks of the Carolina Panthers, a running back who got a lot of hype coming into the league as a rookie a few years ago. And then the poor guy just cannot stay healthy and get on the field to be able to show what he can do. This is now his second ACL surgery that he's had to deal with, that he's coming off of. But he is set up as right now the backup to Chuba Hubbard. And there is a non-zero chance that we could see a breakout season from this guy. Now, is it someone that I'm going to look at taking a lot? No. Will I mix him in? Yeah, because I do want to have that opportunity just in case. But you just have to be realistic with the fact that we really have no idea. I mean, honestly, there's a chance he could just be done. He may have no explosiveness or burst left. That time will tell.
Yeah, he hasn't played football in almost, and by the time September rolls around, everything, it'll be almost 2 years. So actually, even more than that, because he tore his ACL halfway through his college season. So he's played one football game in the last 3 years. So, and it wasn't even, and he didn't even get through the whole game. So yes, this is one of the more volatile players that you can draft. I think everybody's going to be excited because they remember what he was supposed to be and the draft capital that Carolina spent on him. But he's not going to get that 3-down workload at all, probably, at least this year. I think, yes, I'll mix in the occasional share, but I just can't see a scenario where I'm having high exposure. That's a guy I'm okay to be wrong on this year. And if he stays healthy, realizes his potential, then next year, sky's the limit. Chuba's gone, and Brooks is the guy.
Next year, we could be looking at him in the round 5-6 territory. That is very possible.
Yeah.
And as far as drafters have been concerned, he's been steadily rising. So people are pretty much thinking about and dreaming on this potential. Yep. So, but it's not like super high, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like people haven't catapulted him into the top 10 rounds or anything, but yeah, it's hard to not be excited about him knowing what he was at Texas. But yeah, it's proceed with caution.
Yep. Okay, next man up. Another proceed with caution, but maybe with not so much for different reasons. I'm very into Travis Hunter. I was into him last year. I'm into him now, even coming off of his injury. You've kind of already talked about how, maybe it's overblown, his working too much on defense and not as much as a receiver. We were truly about to see the breakout of him happening last year in the week that he got hurt. I want to say it was 8. I
think it was a London game.
That sounds right. But he was crushing it, and he was literally breaking out, and we had seen it start to expand the few weeks prior because he didn't do anything to start the year. For the first month plus, he was a big bust.
Week 7.
Okay,
week 7, he had 14 targets, 8 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown.
I knew it was right around that time. So, but anyway, I'm going to be in on Travis Hunter if he stays this late of an ADP, because this feels like a great gamble to take. You can take him in Jaguar stacks. You can take him alone. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of into it. What about you?
And whenever you do get to ADP, I guarantee it's going to be a slope down, because that report came out from, I might have even been Schefter, that saying that he's going to play primarily cornerback and sprinkle in receiver. They've already debunked that, and that's not the case at all. Injury, they expect him to be ready for training camp. I don't think he's going to play in like voluntary stuff, but he's going to be. They expect him to be 100% for training camp. Like says there, elite athlete. They gave up a lot of draft capital to take him number 2 overall last year, and he's this ADP last year. I could not have been more off of him at his ADP. I will absolutely take that gamble. Best ball is the perfect format to do that, or IDP. But best ball is a great format for it because he's going to have spike weeks.
Yeah, 100%. And you don't have to worry about setting your lineup with him each week. So yeah, I could not agree more. And yeah, look at that dip you were talking about. Look at that the Schefter dip here, and the false news report.
Fake news.
But yeah, it makes sense. This ADP movement makes total sense. And right now at 158 currently, that's just a great buying opportunity. We'll see how that translates once we get here into the regular draft season coming up soon. All right, next man up. We have entered this 3 straight injury guys coming back. Who really knows this one? Mr. Brandon Aiyuk, currently still of the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I have been an Aiyuk fan in his career. Last year, I was pretty much, I'd heard nothing good in the offseason, so I was thankfully mostly stayed away because he ended up, of course, missing the entire year. Now, right now, as we sit today, I still am hesitant to click his name because I'm still not feeling great as far as reports that I hear from a aspect of injury recovery. Is he going to be dropped? Where will his potential new team be? All of this stuff. But he offers a lot of great upside return. And if he is healthy and if he's in a good spot, this is a guy that, like Diggs, like Hunter, this could be a smash pick this late. So, Corey, are you going to be an Aiyuk drafter this year, you think?
I want to say no, because last year you and I were lockstep and there's not many names that we don't click. I think off the top of my head, there were 2 names last year that you and I were just flat out, I'm not clicking. Doesn't matter how far he falls. And it was Caleb Johnson and Brandon Aiyuk.
And I never drafted Caleb Johnson. That could not have worked out better.
Yeah, right. I was just everybody I just was not there on him at that ADP. But my number 1 do not draft was Brandon Aiyuk from whatever. But I bet I had a 1% because maybe early I took him in something. But with the injury and then that last year he could have come back and didn't. And so far, San Fran, they're just holding on to him. They've said that they don't think he's going to play there, but they legitimately don't have to do anything until they could realistically not do anything until like August or September, unless someone comes and blows them away with a trade offer. So no, I'm not clicking him. He should play, but I guess there's a chance that he stays in San Fran and just doesn't play again. I don't know, but I think there's better players around this ADP that you could be drafting.
Yeah,
safer options, I should say.
Absolutely. I really just got to wait until I hear something or know of some sort of change. Because I do believe he does offer an elite upside here this late. If we knew he was going to be on the field and healthy, and until we know that, it's just really hard to click his name.
Yeah.
Look at his ADP just steadily moving down in the entire winter of draft season. All right, next man up, Keaton Mitchell, now of the, I almost just said San Diego again, now of the Los Angeles Chargers. It's really hard for me to not say San Diego. I mean, it's been years. It's been years. All right. So I've been a big fan of Keaton Mitchell and what I've seen in his little bits of time that he's played in his first couple years behind Henry.
On the little.
Yeah, it's very, very little because he pretty much has never got in. But what I've seen, I've seen the potential there. I put here explosive committee running back because I do think that he definitely has that explosiveness to his game. And in the right potential situation, which would mean Marion Hampton gets hurt, there is a chance that I think he could offer some spike weeks. So I think as a late throw-in injury flyer, I'm into just mixing him in as an RB6 option. But he's not someone that I'm going to target. This will not be a target. This is just a mix him in depending on your build occasionally. He's not someone that I'm going to go out and be like, oh, I've got to add Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, I loved the landing spot for him. I think with his skill set, it really lends well to being a change of pace type of guy. Kimani Vidal's still there, and he performed very well while Marion Hampton was out. And even to the chagrin of me as a Hampton owner, after Hampton came back, Vidal just kept getting the ball, and it was frustrating. But Keaton Mitchell is a great change of pace guy. And again, whenever there's some form of a coach change or something like that, and when that always perks my ears, or I'm always a little more attentive to the the moves that they make after that. And bringing on Mike McDaniel, I've probably said that ad nauseum, but having him as the OC and bringing in Keaton Mitchell seems like a guy that he would have big plans for. So keep that in mind as far as Kimani Vidal, that he's not a Mike McDaniel guy. He's just inherited him. So there's no telling what they'll do. But I actually think I draft a lot of Hampton, so I don't have a ton of Mitchell right now because I don't want to do handcuffs. But I think he's a solid, could be potential value here.
Yeah, and as far as drafters have been concerned, he had a major spike up once he went to the Chargers.
It's a great landing spot.
It stayed steady and it's continued to rise some to now an ADP of 152. So I think that most people are kind of in agreement with us that he's a good, solid bet to make here as a just in case.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Next up, one of my personal favorite tight ends to take late for
Are we into round 14 now?
We are into round 14.
Okay,
yes, we are. So again, for anyone that's here watching, once we finish these next 12 players, then we're going to jump into a draft. All right. So Juwan Johnson, I just love Juwan Johnson, and he's a monster of a man. Last year, he was so good from a tight end 2-3 perspective because he will hit those double-digit weeks a lot. He hits double-digit points a lot. And that maybe not 15 to 20, but 10 to 12 to 14, and that's exactly what you want. You want to get those points right there. And the fact that you do not have to count on him as a tight end pick, and he's just a luxury, and he still is going this late. He's a luxury. He could be your third tight end on a lot of builds. Shuck, we've already talked about him and being interested in the Saints. And I'm going to continue drafting Juwan Johnson just like I have been. Are you a Juwan Johnson guy, Corey? I don't remember what your thoughts on him.
I took him the other day. Here's the thing is he had over 100 targets last year. It was 102. That might not seem a lot if you're thinking wide receivers or a Trey McBride, Brock Bowers. That's a lot of targets. And I just looked at just a couple that Rondé Gadsden had 60 last year. It's 69 or 70. Mark Andrews had 70 targets, and we're taking him ahead of Juwan Johnson. There's frankly, what reason is there to take Mark Andrews over Juwan Johnson? I mean, better quarterback, I guess, but the offense of that, it's a run-first offense, and outside of touchdown, Mark Andrews 2 years ago had double-digit touchdowns. That came way down, and you saw the result of it. Juwan Johnson, it's not a sexy name, but there's guys that we could easily be taking him over. If you took Juwan Johnson over Mark Andrews, there's no reason to not do that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, I'm completely on board. And as far as drafters have been concerned, it's really nice because he's stayed steady, if not just dipped. And personally, I love that. I want most people to stay off of him because I'd be happy if he's one of my higher owned tight ends.
Yeah, and I think, and I'd have to look, but last year 77 catches, 889, and three. I mean, the three touchdowns. Yeah, it's not great, but outside of that, 77 balls on 102 targets and 889. That's a tight end one.
And most of that was with Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
So Shuck didn't come in until the
Well, I
second
mean,
half.
but even with his last three games, 8 for 89, 4 for 95, and then 3 for 61.
And that's with Shuck. So yeah, I'm definitely on board with Juwan. All right, next up, Jacoby Brissett, which is a very interesting pick because this is a guy that's a career backup who we weren't even looking at as even anywhere near on the radar a year ago at this time to draft, because why would we? Why would you be looking at taking Jacoby Brissett? Well, we saw why. He was in really a great fit for fantasy. Why? Because the Cardinals were really bad. They were down in games, and Jacoby could throw the ball. And it's a volume, junk time type of player. And he fed Trey McBride. He fed Michael Wilson. He just found those two guys that worked. He increased their fantasy stock dramatically. And then, surprisingly enough, the Cardinals got rid of Kyler and said, you know what, we're going to hold on to Jacoby Brissett. And who else did they bring in? Gardner Minshew. Isn't that what we've talked about? Gardner's the backup there, right? Corey?
Yeah, sorry, you cut out for just a second. Gardner Minshew is the backup as of right now.
That's what I thought. So as of today, as we speak, Jacoby is the guy. And if I don't know, I will occasionally take him if I have, say, Trey McBride or Michael Wilson earlier, and I want to get Jacoby as my third quarterback. But again, I think that it's like, can we catch lightning in a bottle again? I don't know. And again, he probably will be someone I'm just not looking at. This is just a career backup. What about you, Corey? Do you think I'm underselling him, or is that about right?
Real quick, just I hate to backtrack here, but just to illustrate my point on the tight end thing, 100 targets and how rare it is. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. There were 8 tight ends last year that had over 100 targets. So targets matter. That was Juwan Johnson, Jake Ferguson, Dalton Schultz, Fannin, Kelsey, Warren, Pitts, and McBride. So just throw that out there too. And I would say 100 targets is you might not seem like that crazy, but for tight ends, it actually is. Follow the targets, people. Jacoby Brissett, right now, sure. The big knock for me that is just, does he finish the year as the starter? Do they see what they've got in Minshew, or there's still a chance that they take Ty Simpson? I think that I'm off of Brissett for now, because if you're drafting over the next 5 days, maybe take a break on Jacoby Brissett and see what happens in the draft. Even if they don't draft a quarterback, I think his ADP is going to probably stay about the same. So I think it's fine right now, but I would maybe wait a few days till we know if they're going to address. And hey, I'm not saying if they draft Ty Simpson that he's for sure going to start or anything like that, but that will make the leash that much shorter on Brissett.
Yeah. And then as far as drafters have been concerned, once Kyler went, then we saw a big spike up for him. And honestly, look, it's continued to rise. I mean, I think more and more people are thinking that this is going to be his job for most of the year. And again,
they're committed to him being the QB1. Now that's coach speak. Anything could change, but they got rid of Kyler. They cut him, and they said that Jacoby is our quarterback. So obviously that's not a long-term thing, and anything could change. But as of right now, that's what they said.
And the Cardinals should be bad again, right?
Mm-hmm. I think they're tanking. I mean, yeah, I think they're tanking.
They should be bad again. So that means more junk time for Brissett, and that's fantasy gold.
There's a lot of smoke around them trying to trade out of the third pick right now because they just have a million needs, and they either to get draft picks this year or try to get somebody's 27 for next year. There's a lot of smoke of them trying to trade out of the third pick.
Okay. Next up, we've got Deebo Samuel, which is crazy having him down this low. Someone who we've been, as a community, as a fantasy community, really high on for the last several seasons. And he just has flat out not done what we've all expected. Now he's a free agent. He is going to go. Obviously, this is a guy that, not unlike Diggs, he will sign somewhere. He doesn't have character issues. He is a good teammate. Maybe he goes back to San Fran. Who knows? I mean, time will tell. But I think Deebo's a good pick to mix in here. I'm going to draft Deebo. It just feels like a great late value to just take the dip. And I'm sure once he signs, we'll see a significant rise and spike upwards on that ADP board. Are you going to be into Deebo this year?
Yep, I am. I drafted him in our stream the other night. If he, depending on landing spot, I think this is actually even a better pick than Diggs. I'd rather have Deebo than Diggs personally, because here he's younger, but so more left. They're two completely different players. But Deebo he doesn't have the off-field stuff that Diggs does. He doesn't have the baggage, but also someone is absolutely going to sign him, and whoever does, like, he's gonna be a part of their offense. This isn't a guy you bring in and he'll play 30% of the snaps or something. So I think he just hasn't signed yet because he made it past that initial wave of free agency, and so teams are going to wait till after the draft now.
Yeah, that's where we're at with a lot of these guys that are still free agents. And look at that significant decline and continued decline in ADP, down now to 167.7. So the further that he dips, the more the buying opportunity, in my opinion.
If Washington doesn't go receiver in the draft or address it early or anything, they could easily bring back Deebo.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I said he could go back to San Fran. He could go back to Washington.
Yeah. I think they brought back De'Ami Brown. And other than that,
don't you besmirch De'Ami Brown?
Yeah, I don't remember if they've signed anybody else, but yeah, I don't know. They haven't done anything crazy right now.
Yep. Okay, next up, Mr. Jerry Jeudy. So Jerry Jeudy, holy crap, was he one of the biggest disappointments last year after a Joe Flacco led breakout 2 years ago. And all of a sudden it's like, Jerry Jeudy is here. He's finally doing it. He's breaking out. And then last year, what happened? Yeah, granted, it was the Browns and a lot of bad things happened there, but Jerry Jeudy disappeared. He's still only going to be 27 years old this year. I have to think that this is a good buy low opportunity, and I'm going to draft me some more Jerry Jeudy at this low cost, unless there's some sort of big rise, which I don't see happening. So I could be burned again with him, but man, I don't know. You've never been that big of a Jerry Jeudy guy, have you?
I wasn't. I knew Alabama, the whole, the route running thing, all of that. People that were taking him in Dynasty over CeeDee Lamb blew my mind. Because I thought that Lamb was an absolute alpha and that Jerry Jeudy could be a nice piece, but he wasn't an alpha type, and he's proved me right. We talked about players that we didn't draft last year. That was another one on my short list of I wanted nothing to do with Jerry Jeudy, and we saw his spike weeks 2 years ago, and when they came, it was with Jameis.
It was Jameis. It wasn't Joe Flacco.
If you look,
I was thinking 2 years ago it was Joe Flacco.
2 years ago, if you look at his game log, he was nothing, and then you could see it's nothing, Jameis. Nothing. I mean, he has this because Jameis and Jerry had this awesome connection, and Jerry Jeudy parlayed that into where he's at right now. But personally, I'm just not really drafting Browns as a whole. But yeah, it was Deshaun Watson with Jerry Jeudy was a terrible connection. They had no chemistry, and that's like when he got hurt and Jameis came in, that's when Jeudy went absolutely nuclear. So last year I wanted nothing to do with him. This year, I don't blame people for name value alone. And like you said, he's only 27 for taking him here. I'm not going to because I'm just not going to get fooled on it. I didn't last year, and I'm just not interested.
Yeah, and as far as drafters have been concerned, he's just stayed almost no movement, almost a steady, solid line here. Once everything's settled, once the dust settled,
he shouldn't be anything better than your wide receiver 5'6".
5'6". Yeah,
If you have him as your wide receiver 4, it's not going to kill you, but it's not good.
Yeah.
If you're good at, like, we've seen Chad on here, our friend Chad, that's gone the running back, and just gone, bulk receiver at the end. That kind of strategy, Jeudy's fine. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not drafting him.
Yep, I get it. All right, next man up, Hunter Henry, who of the New England Patriots, who very solid tight end pick. There's a lot of good tight end picks that we've discussed in these 2 rounds, and Hunter Henry is another one of them. So, yeah, he's been around for many years at this point. We know who he is. I don't think he's someone who will necessarily see big spikes one way or another, but he's just a steady Eddie, good tight end 2 or 3 for your build. And I say you click his name whenever he's there and you need it. And if not, you move on. It's just that simple. It's not, he's not sexy, but he's solid.
Yep. Not sexy, but solid. Yeah, no, it's not someone that I wouldn't recommend going into a draft saying I have to get Hunter Henry. But if you push tight end, if you really want to go with the late tight end build, these rounds are where you can really find some value. And Hunter Henry's a guy that every year it's boring. He's not going to finish the year as a top 5, 6, 7 tight end probably, but he also doesn't kill you either. He gives you enough.
Yep. And as far as drafters have been concerned, this is interesting. This big spike, that must have been the playoffs. That must have been the Super Bowl. So he, whenever the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, they had a spike here. Let's see what February 9th and 10th. Absolutely. Then he settled back down and stayed pretty steady right where he's at.
That's where he should be going. And it'll be so fascinating to see what direction they go with their wide receiver room if they keep it as is. And so if they do, Hunter Henry's could be a steal here.
Yeah. Again, I just think he's a solid piece. Mix them in whenever you can. But yeah. All right. Next up, aging running back, James Conner. So James Conner is someone who traditionally I've loved taking. He has been a really productive fantasy running back for pretty much his whole career. Great at getting into the end zone. He just has a knack for touchdowns. And even last year, in his first 2 games before he got hurt in week 3 and then missed the rest of the season, he was solid enough. I mean, double-digit points. And I think James Conner is a pretty decent bet since they chose to re-sign him and bring him back. So mixing him in late here, I have no problem with. Again, not a target. It's kind of like Hunter Henry, not a target. But when you need a running back late, I don't hate it.
Yeah, if you're going hero or zero RB, I think this is probably one of your better options because, injuries has usually been a thing with him. 2 years ago was his first, I think, game he played season. He had played every single game in a long time, and then last year, obviously, was a huge disappointment. I was a big James Conner drafter last year just because I knew injury was part of it, but just the volume. I'm chasing volume. They brought him back. It's a completely different coaching regime. So we'll see how that all shakes out. And they have like 30 running backs on their roster right now. It's a very, very crowded room. But I think as of right now, I think he's a fine investment at ADP 161. It could be, I think it's actually a pretty good value.
Yeah, I agree. All right. And then let's take a look and see what his draft season has looked like. I mean, kind of interesting, sharp decline.
Yeah, right. Free agency, like whenever they I was gonna say, like that little up right there is when he probably re-signed, and then when Tyler Algier signed,
then right back down.
Yeah, they brought in Bam Knight, they brought in Algier, they brought back Bam Knight, they still have Trey Benson. So something's got to give there. They're probably not going to address running back in the draft. You'd think if they do, then you're like, what in the world are you doing? So yeah, it's someone's, either whether it's a trade or they keep them and somebody gets cut at some point. But it's not James Conner as right now. I would think so.
All right, next up, Chig Okonkwo of the now Washington Commanders. I have been quite a big fan of drafting Chig Okonkwo so far in his first couple years because I have seen this big potential for breakout that actually hasn't happened yet. But I would say that it's not necessarily his fault as much as it is the situation he's been in Tennessee. Whereas now attaching to Jaden Daniels, and I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, I'm pretty sure Zach Ertz is finally done.
He hasn't
officially retired.
But he had a gruesome bad ACL, and he's a free agent, and I don't see him.
I don't think we have to worry about Ertz anymore. Is my point.
He wants to come back, but it doesn't necessarily mean here or if even a team will want to.
Yeah, so I'm in. I'm especially if I have Jaden Daniels, then I'm definitely targeting Chig Okonkwo as my tight end 2 or 3. But even without, even in a non-stacked, I think he offers great upside for the tight end 2 or 3 at this spot. So again, we've talked about a lot of these tight ends. Hunter Henry, if you want to just compare to the last one, there's your safe pick. Okonkwo, much riskier, but higher breakout potential.
Yeah. And that all depends on how you built your room. He is the perfect tight end fade pick. If you're going to fade tight end, I'd almost tell you 99 times out of 100, draft Chig Okonkwo, because at this stage in this, like, he probably has the biggest, the highest ceiling in this range for tight ends, because we've seen over the last 2 years that Jaden loves the tight end. Ben Sinnott, they took in the second round 2 years ago, has been a bunch of nothing, and it doesn't look like he's probably going to be anything. I think Chig Okonkwo he's going to end up being, I think, a pretty trendy name, but rightfully so. I think this is amazing value, and I'm going to smash this every single time. If he at ADP or even a little later, especially, he's a must draft, I think.
Yeah, we're right on board there together. Okay. And look at that massive Commanders spike. Yep. And then he's steadied out, and ADP of 161 again is just such a good price still.
Yeah, best offense quarterback that he's had in his career by a mile.
Oh, by a mile, yeah. Not even close. All right. No offense, Cam Ward. We'll see what you can do. But last year, Cam Ward wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we move on to another running back, just mix and gamble piece with Woody Marks. Last season, they did get rid of, now Mixon, granted he didn't play last year, but Mixon's gone. Dameon Pierce is gone. Woody Marks is the backup, and he does have that passing game role. But what sort of upside does Woody Marks have? I don't know. I don't think that he's someone I'm going to look to necessarily target, especially considering some of these other names that we've just talked about. I don't see myself drafting Woody Marks much. Do you ever, or what's your thoughts here on him?
Yeah, you could do worse, but yeah, it's not someone that I'm over. Like, the folks that thought that we were seeing a breakout last year, that Woody Marks was going to be the guy. Nah, that was never going to be a thing. He's a solid little. He was a day 3 pick. Good for them. He's going to be in the rotation, but he's not someone that I'm probably going to draft a ton. But he has a role, so I'll give him that. But other than that, I don't think he's some deep sleeper that's going to be a league winner or anything. Even if Montgomery goes down, we saw what happened when Marks had the ball, and he was fine. But yeah, he's not league winner.
Yeah, and look at that dip. So essentially, drafters are kind of saying what we're talking about, and that is he's not really an attractive piece, but he's just a mix-in late RB piece who maybe you hit a couple spike weeks if he happens to get a game where he gets a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown.
He was the primary. He had double-digit carries in every week but 2 since week 4 of last year, and he averaged 3.6 yards a carry, only 2 touchdowns. Wolf, that's terrible. And their offensive line sucks. I'm not drafting him probably.
Yeah, just more or less a fade. About an occasional mix in.
Yeah, or if he dips, if there's more of a, then sure, why not? Everybody has a price.
Speaking of everyone has a price, Emanuel Wilson, someone who really we've not looked at all. Been the backup to Josh Jacobs for the last couple of seasons, mixed in one of the backups, I should say, not even necessarily the backup in Green Bay. But now where we sit today, he is, I guess, right now it's him. He's the starter with Charbonnet out. So it's him and George Holani, who you mentioned earlier, assuming that they don't make any moves. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they'll draft a rookie running back. I would be shocked if they didn't. And roll into the season with Wilson, Holani, and Charbonnet. I'm not going to look at drafting Wilson, maybe ever. I don't know. Is there anything I'm missing here?
No, I just looked to see what kind of money he got. He got 1.5, 550K guaranteed. That's not even a guarantee to make the roster. He could be a camp cut. So they're not locked into him. And if they go running back at all, it won't be first round, but they could go day 2, day 3. I'm out. I don't care. Like that's a nothing to me.
And he has, since going to Seattle, he has seen a consistent rise in his ADP.
If they sign a free agent or draft a running back on day 2, that is going to crater way back down to where it started.
Yeah, we'll see that big spike dip back downwards, no doubt about it.
Because they haven't done anything else yet, and Charbonnet is coming off an injury. But it just doesn't excite me, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this one is exciting, and I will take Emmett Johnson 99 times out of 100, if not 100 out of 100, over the last 2 running backs that we just talked about. And I bet when we look at ADP, it's probably changed, and he probably is above them now. We'll find out in just a second. But Emmett Johnson, rookie running back from Nebraska, whenever I watched highlights of him, Corey, researching for this player page, wow, was I impressed. I was really impressed. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that this might be a really good late pick here. What do you know about this kid?
So combine wise, I just Googled just to make sure that I was right on this. He ran a 4.5 at the combine. I guess maybe his pro day was a little faster, but if you're going to run 4.5, then I don't know. I'm not like over the moon. These guys, it's kind of hard to talk about because it's going to depend on landing spot. When you're talking like these day 3 running backs is what I expect him to be as a day 3 running back. If he ends up at a spot where he has a path to playing time, sure. But if he's a day 3, like round 4, 5, 6 pick, and it's to somebody that I'm not like, I'm not going to say I'm an Emmett Johnson, like, I know everything about the kid, but I'm not rushing out to draft him right now, but you never know. These are the kind of guys leading. If you're going to be drafting this week, grab him now as a why not at ADP 166, round 14. Why not use your round 14 pick? If he ends up, you might strike gold. You never know. So that's where I'm at on him right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think he absolutely could be a straight gold. And here's the thing:
he's pass catching. He does have pass catching upside. He's a pass catcher. So,
and from what I saw, which again, I know very little, and you can only know so much from watching YouTube videos, right? I get it. But what I did see, what stood out to me, was incredible shiftiness. This dude, his jukes and his ways to cut and like find these holes. This is the type of stuff that where, yeah, he may not have the straight light speed, right? Like he may not be as fast as some of these other guys, but he looks, to me, looking at his film, looks like an NFL running back. So I'm pretty into the kid right now.
In fairness too, he didn't crush the combine or anything, but there's so many players that skip those drills altogether. So the fact that he did run them and everything, something is to be said about that. And he's going to be drafted. It's just for guys like that, from a fantasy perspective, it's just going to be all landing spot.
Yep. Well, I'm going to be very interested to talk about him next weekend once we know where he goes.
Yes,
so
yeah, it'll be fun.
But he stood out to me. This is one that, again, I know nothing about rookies, and now as we're going round by round, and I'm kind of researching these guys as we go, he's been a big one that stood out to me. Okay. Oh, did we look at his draft season? I don't think so. Here's what it's done. It's gone down. So from where it was, it's gone down. I think that's the combine thing you're talking about.
There were only, I think, 10 running backs or so that ran the 40, and he was the slowest of the group. It's only 10, so it's not that. Don't knock him that much, but yeah, he didn't pop off as like an uber athlete or something. But again, that doesn't mean that combine doesn't mean you stink.
Yeah, I've never been someone that really cares about combine.
Bucky Irving had a horrendous combine, and he's doing okay.
Yeah, I'd say things worked out just fine for old Bucky.
Yeah.
Okay, now an interesting piece that we've already discussed. One of your former Chief boys, who I personally kind of want nothing to do with because I just don't see much upside from Mr. Isiah Pacheco. But I will say there is a chance that maybe with going to the Lions, and if he does get that David Montgomery role, maybe he gets some touchdowns, spikes, and maybe he's better than what we've seen him be on the Chiefs. So I'm not going to say that I will never draft Pacheco. I could occasionally mix him in, and I'm open to the potential that he could be even better than what we've seen. But I've just never been blown away by the guy.
I'm curious to see when you put up the ADP for him, because the other night when we streamed, he fell like 2 full rounds behind ADP. So the only reason why I'm even remotely interested is because of the landing spot. He fell into he was never going to be the starter anywhere, but this is a pretty good landing spot because Gibbs obviously is the show there, but they've always liked that running back tandem, and they went out and chose Isiah Pacheco. As a Chiefs fan, from being a fan, I love Pop. He was very instrumental in the 22 and 23 Super Bowl runs, and he hasn't been the same since that injury in early 2024. And the guy just, if you like watching a guy running full speed into the back of an offensive lineman, this is your guy. But it was so frustrating to watch that they clearly valued Kareem Hunt over Pacheco last year. He was our RB1 and was the better running back than Pacheco, but in space, he can make things happen if he still has the speed. But it's really, if you're going to draft him, it's all landing spot.
Oh, here's what drafters have done in dramatic spike once he went to the Lions and then completely flattened out.
Yeah.
But 169 is, again, it seems totally fine. That's why I am open to that potential for the increased role with Detroit. Again, like I said, if he does get more David Montgomery-esque looks, then yeah, we could see him be much better than what he's done the last couple of years. But as of now, again, I would way rather have Emmett Johnson.
I'd say I would rather have Pacheco than Woody Marks or Emanuel Wilson.
Yeah, I could agree with that because I'm not really into those either. So
yeah, I'd rather have Pacheco than them. But yeah, I think if you're going to be stuck between the two, take the upside potential if Emmett Johnson at this point lands in a good spot.
All right, and then the last player before we jump into a draft. So guys, anyone that's still on here watching, if you want to draft with us, we'll be doing that real soon. We're going to be jumping into a UDFA 3. Okay. Now, Kayshon Boutte. So I was super, super interested in Boutte last year after a really, really nice couple of spike games where what I like about him is whenever I sit on Sundays, Corey, as I know you know this, I sit every Sunday, literally since Red Zone has become a thing in like 2011 or 2010, whenever it was. I watch Red Zone every Sunday. And Boutte has stood out last year because of some really nice acrobatic touchdowns. He's just one of these guys that looks like he should be better than what his actual stats have proven. Now, will he have an increased role this year? I think probably. Diggs is gone. That's something we were just talking about. But there is a lot of potential moving pieces there. And I'm not saying that Boutte will be a breakout, but I'm going to be into him. I've already clicked his name several times in drafts. I'm going to continue doing it. I like attaching to Drake May. What do you think about Kayshon Boutte?
Speaking of bad combines, here's another one coming out of LSU. Everybody liked Boutte, but then he just absolutely stunk up the combine. Honestly, at this spot, I think it's a nice value, especially if this is the final wide receiver room for the Patriots plus a rookie. I think Boutte's at a great opportunity to smash this ADP. You hit the nail on the head. He is inconsistent. It's like there were certainly spike weeks, but we are talking best ball. That's what we do is spike weeks. But he had 6 touchdowns last year. That's not nothing.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's played with Drake May now for 2+ years, or now this will be his 3rd season. So a lot of snaps with Drake May, has some chemistry. I think you could do a lot worse at this pick. Does he have a wide receiver 1, 2, 3 ceiling? No. But as your wide receiver 5, 6, like even wide receiver 7, maybe. Yeah. That plays.
I could not agree more. Yeah, it definitely plays. And again, I've clicked it and I'm going to continue to click it. As far as his draft season is concerned, it's been a steady decline. And personally, I really like seeing that. The later he dips, the more enticing of a pick he is for me. Look, he's all the way down to 178.9.
I think that people are probably anticipating that A.J. Brown thing or something of that nature. And yes, if they bring in an alpha type like that
will hurt. Yeah,
that'll be tough. But as of right now, I think it's a very nice value.
Okay, well, Corey, we have made it through our 24 players in round 13 and 14, and now we can go ahead and jump into a live draft. So, do you have Underdog pulled up?
I do.
All right, so I'm getting it ready here.
I'm moving right now because I'm in my office. I've got my actual big screen. I've got everything. Man, I'm living right now.
Living life, my friend.
For those of you just joining us, my office is right by my son's room. We usually draft late at night when he's sleeping, and if I wake him up, I'm in huge trouble. So I can't draft in my office that often. But yes, are we doing a UDFA 3?
UDFA 3, yes, sir. So if there's anyone out there that wants to draft with us, just get ready. We're going to do a countdown. Corey, I am ready. And when you are ready, go ahead and give us the countdown. We'll get it going.
All right, let's do it. In 3, 2, 1, enter.
All right. 2 more, 1 more. Look at that. Look at that timing. Whew. Beautiful. All right. We're at 11 of 12. All right. Let me get the draft board pulled up for us here.
Do you draft on dark mode or light mode?
Dark mode
all day. Yeah, just because this is the first time on here that I've done, and it was on light. And I'm like, what? How do people do this? It's like burning my eyes.
Yeah, I dark mode drafter all the way. Okay, so
all right, yes.
What pick did you get, Corey?
I got 5. I'm excited because I haven't had 5 yet.
Beautiful. All right, so you got 5. I got 7. I'm not recognizing any other names in here with us. If there happens to be anyone who's watching along in the chat, let us know, and we will take a look at your team as we go along as well. Okay, and we are just going to be doing the one draft here soon. Once we get through this Dominate series where we're looking at the players, we'll be doing multiple drafts, 2 or 3 in every stream. All right. So, Corey, with you having pick 5, so let's say Smith and Jigba goes at 4. Will you click a Puka or move on to one of the other players? What's your initial thoughts before we get there?
I think I will still click Puka at 5. Yes. I think that's where he's at with me. I don't have the greatest feeling, but I think the only change for me is that I would take JSN over him, but that's it.
Yep. So that's kind of where I'm at too.
Antics and whatnot.
As we sit today with what we know of Puka today, I will take JSN over Puka.
Oh, no. Wow. Are you kidding? I am fine. Yeah, it's your money, but...
Well, here's what sucks about that. So for anyone who doesn't know this, there is sometimes a
Yeah.
chance that if someone is trying to tank drafts that they could throw them out. So there is an unfortunate chance with seeing Quinshon Judkins just go out, pick one, that maybe this draft could get thrown out. I hope not. I hope not. Please count. But we'll see. We'll see. We're just going to draft this assuming that this is going to be legit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm assuming if it's so just you have a lot more experience with this than I do. If it's just one team, if everything else looks legit, but it's just one guy that's drafting like that, will they throw it out, or does it need to be multiple people? Because my thinking is, like, for you and I, if we were drafting side by side like this, I guess, and or me, you, and someone else, we are clearly making bad picks to try and load you up or something. But will that be enough to throw it out if one guy?
Yeah, it can. Unfortunately, it can.
It's a bummer. It's a bummer. It's never happened to me, but I know you've seen it because you do a lot more of these.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I'm in the thousands.
Yeah, right. But it's not super often. But
it's not super often. But boy, let me tell you, when it drives me crazy is I try to finish my tournaments with a specific number, like a round number. So in other words, if it's a 50 max entry, I like to finish with 20 or 25 or 30. I do not want to finish with 19 or 24. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
I like to finish so that whenever I'm looking at my number of entries in the tournament, it's at a designation that ends with a 5 or a 0. And whenever I'm at 20 and then one gets thrown out, because a lot of times it's after the fact, because they've got Underdog has some sort of algorithm or some sort of AI that kind of goes through and looks for these. Now, it doesn't mean that it will happen because Quinshon was taken one. This guy could still draft a somewhat fine team. It could just be a strategy thing. I know that they have
a mistake, like that.
It could be a mistake
up and something happened. It could
right.
So we'll see what happens.
Right, but we'll see what happens. If we see two more crazy picks at the swing here of 2-3, it's not looking great.
Yeah,
but
so we will just teach this as a drafting exercise, knowing that maybe our teams probably won't count. But.
Yeah, exactly. So I am starting off my team double running back. Now we're coming to you. Look at you. Look, Ken Walker, come on down. That just fell right in your lap.
Yep. Hi, Ken. Welcome to the team.
Hey, Kenny.
Hi. Yeah, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny.
Yeah, love that.
So
so I put my money where my mouth is and took JSN over Puka.
Yep.
Very, very happy with the ETN. Wowza. Josh Allen. All right.
Well, Trey McBride, there's a decent pick.
Okay, there's a good pick.
And Brock Bowers. Okay, so we're back on board with good picks. It's just maybe he's just trying to do some sort of crazy strategy, although why do it with Quinshon at 1 overall? That's still nuts.
That's really, really dumb.
DJ Moore. So that guy at pick 2, though, I kind of like the thought of him of trying something
just
weird.
Stacking it. Yeah.
I mean, he probably could have done it,
Maybe not Allen, though. To be fair, he might not have been able to get Allen on the way back.
But he could have got DJ Moore in round 4, so he could have taken someone else in the 2, Allen in the 3, and then still got Moore in the 4, but he could have missed out. So, hey, he just made it happen. There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, Moore in the 4.
All right, back to you, my friend. You got 1 second. What you doing?
Gosh. Sorry.
You got Rashi.
But I got Rashi. I had him. Yeah, I had him starred, so I was fine. But yeah,
that could not have worked out better for you.
Yeah, that's who I wanted over that. Like, if I did actually
pause. AJ Brown, Chris Olave. Which one you like more? I've got AJ Brown right now.
AJ Brown.
Yep. All right, same here.
Especially could be an Eagles build now.
It could be an Eagles build, and if not, if Brown may not be an Eagle, that's fine.
Yep, but that's fine if that's the direction you want to go. But yeah, I'm a Rice over Nico guy, and I would have picked Drake London over Rashee Rice, but I'm a Rashee over Pickens as well.
Pickens is someone that right now I love George Pickens, and I drafted him so much last year, and I was not afraid of the change of destination going to the Cowboys, and that was proven right. But where we sit today, I don't feel like clicking his name over these other names.
Oh
And
man, yeah.
it kind of makes me feel
I took
sick,
him.
but
Yeah, right. Because I love George Pickens. I've always loved the talent, and it's just. And last year, you could not stop me from taking George Pickens. I couldn't get enough of it. But yeah, right now I just round 3. I am out. Rashee Rice. Let me ask you this real quick before it gets to your pick.
yeah.
If the Chiefs at pick 9 on Thursday take Tate, Lemon, or Tyson, either like a receiver, what does that do for you, Rashee Rice?
I probably moves Rashee Rice down to the end of round 3 in that range there by Egbuka, right? Egbuka, Tet, Garrett Wilson. But with still if they don't though, I have no problem with taking Rashi at the end of round 2, start of round 3. No problem whatsoever.
Yep.
Because I, like you, agree. Oh man, I could really lean into it with Devonta Smith right now. I think I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
and then,
why not?
And then in a way, I kind of hope AJ Brown gets traded, because then that could theoretically unlock the biggest potential for Devonta and Barkley if Brown is gone, at least theoretically, right?
Right.
And you got your boy Ladd. So where you're sitting right now, 1 running back, 3 stud wide receivers. I'm at a 2-2. Let's see what these guys here do. So there goes David Montgomery to that guy at pick 2, and let's see what Captain Caveman does. And he made 2 good picks. So you see, it's a strategy thing. This draft will not get thrown out. I can pretty much say this right now. Everyone is building good teams. I just still don't understand why he went Kayshon at 1. I just don't get it. But
we'll never know, but it has to be an accident. Because at Ladd McConkey, I took him hoping that one of those 3 receivers were going to be there. But now the way that the board's fallen, I am going to take Colston Loveland.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go tight end. This isn't something I do a ton of, I like Loveland right here, and especially with how the board fell for me. I would have liked to have had Bucky, Montgomery, or Travion, but it didn't fall that way. So we're pivoting.
And I'm going to take a gamble that Love does not go to the Giants and go with Scatterboo.
I think that's a fair gamble.
So I still like Scatterboo. Obviously, his price will dramatically dip if Love goes there, and he will be hard to get much value. But I don't think Love's going to go there. At least I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, the favorite is Tennessee. It would take New York if New York just leapfrogs them, or if Tennessee, if it's all smoke and not true, and they go defense, then that's when the Giants are faced with. They're just more apt to take Love now than they were before yesterday. Is in my opinion. That's not going off of anything that's being talked that much about there, but he has been linked to the Giants a lot as far as they like him a lot. So we'll see.
Yes, we will. Okay. Now we're coming to the end of round 5, and everything else in this draft has stayed pretty much chalk and on point, wouldn't you say? I mean, we're looking in good shape right now with everyone's builds. And as we're coming back around to my round 6, I'm wondering, I assume this is probably just the best time for me to grab Jalen Hurts.
If you're going to go that route, I would say it has to be now.
Yeah, I would love to try to push it. And see if I could, since the guy at pick 2 already has a quarterback. The guy at pick 3 already has a quarterback. And I know that you are not going to take Jalen Hurts. But there went Lamar.
Yeah, you have to.
I think I've got to.
You do. If you're going to do it, you have to commit. Don't that's what we've been preaching is don't mess around. Take your guys.
I agree with you, and I'm going to do it. But I do want to say this, Corey. From a high volume drafter standpoint, which I am, go ahead and make your pick real fast here.
God,
he's right there. Just do it and move on. BTJ, just do it and move on. So you kind of mentioned and touched on this earlier. I do want to say, so when you're someone like me, it's a big difference. Someone who's going to be drafting hundreds, if not close to 1,000 drafts in any given draft season, as opposed to someone like you who just isn't going to be dealing with that type of volume, right? We talked about quality over quantity, but when you are doing quantity, you can play chicken with the drafts. And when I'm in a streaming drafts aren't really drafts to play chicken with, right? But whenever I'm sitting here on my own and I just pointed out those things that I did to you, you see Jaden Daniels went. Look, Caleb and Drake May are still there. And there is a good chance that Jalen could have fell, and I could have tried to play chicken with the draft. And if I got burned, it is what it is, right? This is a $2 draft that I'm going to be doing a bunch of teams, and it is what it is. So if you're a high volume drafter, there definitely is something to be said to trying to extract the best value you can from the draft, which sometimes means pushing guys and hoping that they fall past
Ramondre or Jalen Warren.
I'm a Jalen Warren guy, but take Ramondre if you want. It's either way.
I'm a Warren guy too. I just wanted to hear you say it.
Yep. Okay. Now, see what I mean? See, Caleb and Drake May are there. There is a chance that he could have made it. Again, I'm glad that I did it, and I just want to go ahead.
It was the right move, and there's no one there that you missed out on, like that you would have been like, oh man, I wish so and so would have been there, right? I mean,
yeah, no, absolutely not. No, there's the only thing that I would have done had I not is I probably would have went ahead and grabbed maybe BTJ. I mean, honestly, I could have done that, because I still only have the 2 wide receivers. I just added Ramondre.
Would you have gone Warren if I went Ramondre?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
You didn't just talk me out of it because you wanted him for yourself.
No, because I mean, I will mix both these guys in. And see, now I have 4 running backs, with the 2 at the top being McCaffrey and Barkley. So see, now I'm going to do a 6 running back build, but it's opened up these next rounds 8 through 12 where I don't feel, how like last night, or not last night, 2 nights ago, with the whole Quentin Johnston debacle, as you would call it. But that was a strategy thing that I even talked about at the time, where when I took Jacoby Myers as my 4th wide receiver in round 7 or 8, I did it with knowing that I'm going to then bulk running backs in the middle rounds. And so you have to just force yourself to do things uncomfortable to make sure you like your build at the end of the draft.
Yep. And that's because, like, where I'm at right now, I've been preaching that how I think running back, like, I think your strategy that you're taking right now is the right one, but it's not what I like to do. So it's a comfort zone thing. I like to load up on receivers. They're the sexy picks. Sometimes I just can't help it in my brain, but what you're doing right now is the more sound strategy, in my opinion.
And it's not something that I will always do either, is my point. It will be a mix it up draft by draft basis, depending on how things fall to me. And you got to be able to pivot. Again, reps help. I was really hoping DK Metcalf fell back around, because I almost took DK Metcalf instead of Ramondre. So I'm going to push wide receiver again. And this is going to be the time I'm going to take tight end, quarterback 2.
Say. I was going to say tight end. Or do you have your tight end yet?
No. And
why would you take Mahomes? You jerk. I have a Chiefs build.
Dang it. Dude. My bad. I literally was just thinking I hadn't taken Mahomes yet. And I forgot.
There.
Herbert's who I thought you wanted.
No.
My bad.
Why would you do that?
Sorry, bro. You'll have plenty of chances to get Mahomes later. That's my first Mahomes share.
I tell you what.
Well, I was unstacked either way. That's why. I was going to take a quarterback unstacked no matter what I did. So I thought that Mahomes was a good time to gamble on him, already having Hurts. And I knew you had McConkey. I already forgot about Rice.
Unreal.
You probably got the better pick anyway. I'd rather have Herbert. I've already been drafting Herbert.
Yeah, but I know, but that's not the build that I wanted. And I really hope Tucker Kraft. I might take Tucker Kraft just to teach you a lesson.
Take Tucker Kraft. Yeah, it'll be a tight end too. There won't be any lesson. You'll be teaching me to just be doing it. So
no, I mean you push tight end longer than you usually do.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
I think, yeah. Well, I know you won't take Quentin Johnston.
Not with the first one. I may swing around. The first one here is pretty easily for me going to be Pittman or Wandale. Oh, you didn't take Tucker Kraft?
No.
Oh, you got Kenny Gainwell. Yeah. Honestly, that's a better pick for your team anyway, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I will take Tucker Kraft. All right. So now
I went, it was early for him, and there were other names on the board that I preferred. Honestly, I just ran out of time. I mean, to be perfectly honest, he was just the only one that I still had starred, or the highest person I had starred. And there were other names that I think I would have preferred, but it's fine.
But at running back, not necessarily.
I did need running back more. I hate drafting on need, but he was one of the last ones, and I wasn't confident he would be there on the way back.
And we've already discussed in nauseum our love of Kenneth Gainwell. So, and in your disdain for Tony Pollard, we've discussed as well, and the fact that Pollard could be rendered useless if Love does go there.
Yeah, I wouldn't, disdain might be a strong word, but I'm just not in on Pollard.
All right, I gave him a strong adjective, but
yeah, I was gonna say I like that.
You hate him.
I wouldn't say I hate the guy. Man, look at that build right there to pick 11.
3 straight quarterbacks.
It's interesting.
A 3-4-3 build. I don't mind it. It's interesting.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's different.
Mm-hmm. It's different. All right. So now as we're coming back around here, so I'm a pick away. So if I would have taken Herbert last round or 2 rounds ago, then yes, 100% I would have taken Quentin Johnston. But this is the time for me to take Worthy, I think.
Yeah, well, now that you already screwed up my build, yeah, and then go get Travis Kelce and take the build that I was trying to do.
Possibly. I'll try to remember that for the future, but I didn't mean to screw you. But there you go. You got your boy Quentin Johnston, who's a better pick than Worthy anyway, as we've established.
There was another guy I wanted more, but I just couldn't with the build. I wanted Jordan Mason, and I don't think he'll be there on the way back, but yeah.
Well, what you're sitting now with a 1-3-5-1, honestly, you're in a good position because you don't have to take wide receivers,
and I won't for a long time. Yeah, if I can help it, I'm trying to not take any wide receivers moving forward for a long time.
And we're getting ready to move into these names that we've just talked about today and on the last show. So we know there are a lot of interesting non-wide receiver names to mix in here as we move along. Now I have the 2-4-3-1, so I do need to dip back into wide receiver, but not necessarily right now. I could do what you said and go ahead and take Kelce as my tight end too, which again I've not done. This will be the first time, and I think this is it's almost my 40th draft of the early draft season, and it'll be the first time that I've taken Mahomes, Worthy, and Kelce.
I mean, just for the build.
Gadsden, yeah, I wanted Rachaad White right here, but there he goes. Okay. So
that's who I would have taken. It was Jordan Mason, White, or Gadsden. But I already had Kenny Gainwell though. So
I really want to take Omar Cooper instead of Kelce here, but I'm going to go Kelce just because again of this particular build, and
I think that's the right move over Omar Cooper.
And now with having Kelce, I don't have to feel any sort of way about my third tight end. I can most likely wait a few rounds and do that Juwan Johnson thing I was talking about, or even I could go even later than that and be fine. Mason Taylor, Eli Stowers would also be a perfectly acceptable tight end 3 behind Kraft and Kelce.
Yeah.
Okay, so now as we're moving right along, I'm looking at everyone's build. So I see a couple people there's several owners that still have no tight ends, which is very interesting. Look at this. Pick number 3, 4, pick number 8, 9, and
Man, I was
11,
kind of
all
hoping
with no tight
I was
ends.
hoping Sam Darnold would make it to me to pair with JSN, but man, these guys on the back half, 3 quarterbacks already for 3 teams. Whew.
Yeah. Yep. They're not messing
It's
around.
fine. It's fine. You just don't see that very often.
Okay. So now we are back around to me, and we are at the point where I think I'm going to just do the bulk names of wide receiver later. And we discussed him on the last show. I'm going to be in on Jonah Coleman and interested to see his landing spot. So let's add him in there. Now I have 5 running backs. And what are you looking at, sir?
I think I might have to grab Cam Ward here. I'm going to go my QB2, seeing how crazy guys are going. Every draft is not the same. I would love to not go QB2 yet, but this is where we're at right now. And we got, before I took my QB2, we had half the league with QB3s already. So that kind of forced my hand a little bit, but I like the quarterback list was started, and there we go. Look, since I took Stroud, Bryce Young, Brissett, there we go.
This is just the way of QBs this year. It's different than what it's been. I mean, people are spending up more on getting their QB 2s and 3s than in the past. And now you just wait. You just wait and look at the Tua or the Geno thing much later. All right, back to you.
I'm going to take a page out of your book. Go with Charbonnet.
Beautiful. Love it. Add that Charbonnet pick there. Perfect. And now you've got a 2-4-5-2, and him being your 4th. And immediately looking at your team, do you start thinking about what your build is going to finish as you're getting to this point? Like, are you thinking, oh, I'm going to do a 3-6-8-3 or a 3-7-7-3, or what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think I set myself up for some flexibility. If I did want to, I was going to say, I think if I ended up with 2 QB or 2 tight end, I don't think those are definite what I should do, but it's an option, especially going Loveland. But I feel good that, honestly, I just feel balanced. So it's probably going to be a 3-6-8-3.
Yeah.
I think that's why I've set myself up perfectly to go. I don't think I need to go heavier on one than the other. I think 3-6-8-3 is probably the move for me.
So this is why I bring it up. It's because whenever I look at your team with how good your top wide receivers are, really your top 5, I don't think you need an 8th wide receiver. So that's why I was bringing it up. I think that for this particular build, you might be able to take advantage of your strong wide receivers and grab a 7th running back, just to take a stab at one more piece of that pie there.
I think the issue there is just I haven't been in love with the late running backs. So it depends on what's there and where the value is, but I'm not going to do it just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because I do think that the way your team is looking, you could potentially do that 3-7-7-3. All right, Travis Hunter, Jeudy, or Diggs, all the guys we talked about tonight. I think Travis Hunter is just my best bet of these. I mean, it could still be Diggs, honestly. Diggs maybe was the best play there, but like we talked about, I don't see grabbing him a ton until I know a little bit more. But he's still so late.
Yeah. I think I'll go Pacheco. Yep. I'm gonna go Pacheco.
Okay. I was gonna say, wondering if you were looking at potentially doing the Geno thing.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think of Geno versus Tua versus Rodgers? I mean, do you not see Geno as more of a clear cut, or no? Do you think that Geno stays quarterback for the full season?
Yeah, because they're tanking, and if they take like a Ty Simpson or something like that, maybe we don't see Geno, or depending on what they do in the draft, how we'll know what Geno's leash is. If they don't go quarterback, if they just take a day 3 quarterback and that's it, then yeah, Geno's got all the leash in the world. They're going to roll him out there every week. Just say, I mean, we stink anyway, so we're not going to bench him to, whatever. Like we say this every year, should be a good quarterback class next year, and they are tanking in plain sight.
Hey, Gab, just wanted to say thanks for joining us this morning/afternoon. We
Appreciate it.
really appreciate it, my friend. And yeah, we're going to keep this train rolling. We love doing us some drafts and talking about the players, and we've got a lot of months coming up. We're going to keep doing that.
We sure do.
Okay, so we made it back around to you. Now, are you going to go Geno?
Yeah, why not?
I think this is the time because that's a strong. Well, I don't want to call him strong. A potentially strong.
I think that was
piece
that was the move because he has a better chance of keeping the job all year than maybe a Tua does and a Kirk Cousins. So he doesn't about again barring draft, he doesn't have any money breathing down his neck as of right now.
What do you think about Dylan Sampson? We haven't talked about him. I think he'll be on our next show. I'm kind of a fan. I've been already mixing him in as my RB6 on a lot of builds. What do you think about that kid?
He flashed last year in whenever he was when it was his time over Judkins and Sampson. He a lot of people had him really high on their actual draft board, and he was a surprise day 3 pick. But especially like Cleveland had already gone second round Judkins. Sampson's, I think he's solid. He was a good running back prospect, and Judkins coming back from an injury, they might want to take it a little slow with him. So yeah, I think it's totally fine.
Yeah, and from what I saw from him last year, he also seems like a pretty good receiver, running back receiver, good for dump offs. So him versus Tajay Spears, see, that's where, again, Tajay Spears, the whole thing of the unknown. Plus, we've really only got disappointment from Spears.
Yeah, sure.
We've seen the flashes of what he could be, and it's just really not come together. All right, so now as we're coming up here, so question for you, because it could potentially work either way for you. Do you have a preference for what you want with your next pick? Tell me. It'll help me make mine. Who are you hoping for?
Trey Harris is who I'm hoping for.
All right. So you're fine if I take Mason Taylor then?
Yeah, Trey Harris or Adonai Mitchell are the two that I'm looking at right now.
All right. So I'm gonna take Mason Taylor because, again, we'll be talking about him soon. I think that's a potential breakout. You just brought up all the targets that Schultz got, so maybe Schultz is just a better volume pick, but I went with the upside as my tight end 3.
Yeah, Schultz was one of the, what did I say, 8
one
tight
of the
ends?
6 or 8, yeah.
8 tight ends that had 100+ targets last year. So, I mean, it chase volume.
Yeah, so I could have. I just, again, you can either chase volume or shoot for the upside. I chose to shoot for the upside as my 3 behind the Kelsey and Kraft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, if I would have had, let's say I would have had, I don't know, already, let's say I had Gadsden, right? Like you, where I'm kind of already shooting with the upside for my tight end 2. Maybe Schultz would have made more sense there.
Yeah, potentially.
Okay. Back to you. We are moving right along.
Yeah, we are. I am going to go with one of my favorite RB, and I'm going to go Braylon Allen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bet on that talent still.
I am Braylon Allen over Tank Bigsby every single time,
Absolutely.
just like you.
Yep.
And I did consider Tank Bigsby just because of having Barkley, but like we discussed, I'm not into drafting handcuffs.
Sure. Same.
All right. Malik Washington, Trey Tucker. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to go Malik Washington, but I could see Trey Tucker really had that one monster game and then hasn't done much else.
Yeah. It depends on what kind of chemistry they develop with Kirk, but they paid Jalen Naylor to come in, and obviously they still have Bowers, and so we'll see. But Trey Tucker's not a bad dart throw, but yeah, I would have gone Malik Washington as
well. As we are getting ready to swing back around here, I know what I'm hoping for is for Kirk Cousins to go ahead and make it as that fall, and I'll grab him as my 3. And looking at knowing what the people have already done on this side of the board, I doubt that anyone looks to grab Cousins as the QB4, although we'll see, right? But there's a lot of teams that already have 3 QBs, most of them except for this guy here at pick 10, who still only has 2. So let's see what he does right here if he takes Cousins. If not, then that's probably what I'll look to do here with this next pick.
Yeah.
as I am going to go with the 3-6-8-3. Although I could, because I've pushed, what I could do is I could roll with Hurts and Mahomes, and I could do a 9th wide receiver on this team. So I don't have to take Cousins. And you know what? Elijah Surratt, even though I've not looked him up, you kind of intrigued me talking
I thought you'd
about
go
him
Hollywood
the other
Brown,
day.
maybe with that Philly build. Unless you're just not into him.
I'm not, and if I did, I would rather it be next round. I'd rather him fall. That's an example of a guy I'd rather fall. Cousins is still there. You know what? I'm going to do the Surratt thing. I've not looked into Surratt or Brazel or Bernard yet, but just from hearing you talk about him last week, and whenever I was watching some Mendoza highlights, I saw, of course, Surratt get some catches there. So, but we'll see. That's just an initial thought. And I'm going to play chicken with the draft, like I said, and either go 9. I'm either going to go 9 wide receivers, or I wait on my QB3. I think I have the luxury of doing that with taking Hurts and Mahomes.
Are we frozen right now?
Nope. There we go. Sometimes it just locks up a little bit whenever people go down to the wire every once in a while.
Yeah, I think I am going to go Brazel here, and I think he's my only rookie I have so far.
Where did he go to college? Again, I've not done any research on him yet.
He went to Tennessee.
What kind of wide receiver is he? Is he a slot guy? Is he a big guy? Is he a speed guy?
Yeah, speed guy, like a downfield. I mean, he's 6'5", 190 or 198, so big dude. Downfield kind of guy. But yeah, so I think he's probably he should be day 2 pick, probably second round, depending on like kind of the pocket and how that goes. But yeah, I think that he could be a potential best ball weapon. Let's see, what round are we in? We're 19.
We're 19, so we're coming towards the end here.
And
there went Ollie. Back to you.
I might keep pushing that. I'm not sure, but you know what? I'll go Greg Dulcich and see if it's real.
So now, this is the point where, as you come back around to your last pick, where like I was talking about, if there's a running back that you like, I mean, I don't know. I really like your wide receiver room. I don't think you have to add to it.
I don't have to.
So Ted Hurst or Bernard?
Hurst, probably.
Dang.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
It's all right. It is a gamble. Again,
yeah, it's a landing spot. But
Hurst, Bernard, two guys again. Yeah, I don't really know. It's potential.
Bernard might even be the better. Well, a lot of people consider him probably the better prospect, but it's just all personal preference, and it's all going to matter landing spot. So wait, did you decide not to go 3 QBs?
No, I decided to play chicken with the draft and push it to the end and then see. So I'm going to just wait and find out if Cousins is still there with my round 20. Maybe I do. But sometimes, like I said, I like to just do that. I like to just go ahead and right now I have the opportunity to do whatever I want. Tell me your thoughts? Do you think that with having Hurts and Mahomes that I need this third quarterback? It just because of Mahomes' potential injury comeback, or no, just say no. Like you've already kind of said, like, no, he's going to be there week 1. You stamped it.
I think you're fine. Unless if Kirk,
and there went Cousins. So this dude took him as a 4th.
I think if Kirk would have made it there, I think you would, if there was just no one else, like if you look at the board right now, or even say like it's a Shadur or something, if you just looked at the board, you're like, I don't like anybody here, even as a dart throw, I'll just take the QB3. Then that's probably where I'm at. Say like Penix, or I know you're not a Penix guy, but something along those lines. Otherwise, yeah. You're fine with 2 QBs.
Yep, and I'm just going to add that 9th wide receiver. I could have gone Branch. I'm going with Devon Vele. I could have gone Cooper Kupp, my boy Cooper Kupp as well, but Tez Johnson. There's a lot of names. Kyle Williams. There's a lot of names that I'm into drafting here at the end of these drafts. DeMercado, your boy DeMercado.
It is. You know what? I am going to go with him, even though I do have Ken Walker, but I'm gonna I'm going to just kind of double tap that, go with the extra running back.
See,
And
that's not a handcuff
yeah, I'm not
situation.
right. I'm not handcuffing him. That's just, I think that they, assuming that we don't do anything else in free agency or running back, I think that Ken Walker DeMercado is going to be not a 1-2 punch. It's Kenny Walker's backfield, but DeMercado is going to play a lot of third down. So I think that there's a spot for both of them.
Yeah, that's just literally just a spike week gamble.
Yeah, even if Walker goes down, DeMercado's still not going to be like our 3-down back or like the easy handcuff or anything.
Just DeMercado, please, for the love of God, hold on to the ball whenever you're running across the goal line.
I'd recommend it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at our teams, and then we're going to call it a day. So I have the 2-6-9-3, like we discussed. Hurts and Mahomes. I really like my running back room, spinning up with McCaffrey and Barkley, adding in some nice pieces in the middle with Scatabo Ramondre, and then the flyer on Jonah Coleman and Dylan Sampson. I've got the potential Eagles stack if A.J. Brown stays. If not, I still have Devonta and Barkley with Hurts. I would have liked to have gotten Goddard. It didn't happen, and that's all right. I took some flyers at wide receiver late in a bulk wide receiver build that we'll see what happens. It may or may not work, but it's just a strategy thing. I like my tight ends. So overall, I'm happy with this team. It's not the best team that I've put together. It's definitely not the worst. All right, Cor, go ahead and run us through your team and what your thoughts were.
Well, my plan originally after I got Rashid and Ken Walker was a Chiefs build, and you took it from me.
I sure did.
So, if you're going to be drafting with your friends, just make sure you guys are on the same page. Herbert, Cam, I actually have a decent amount of shares of those two. I've talked about the Chargers offense and what it could be. I like Cam Ward potentially taking not a huge leap or something like that, but being better. And I think a viable QB2 in year 2. And then Geno, nobody else is going to play, so why not? I'm okay with he had an ADP dip. Love getting Kenny Walker. And then my plan from there was, now my running back room, that's why I went with the build that I did, because I got Walker, and then I didn't take another one for a while. I went receiver and tight end. So I think, but Warren, Gainwell, Charbonnet, like those guys will play. Like that'll be enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
If you're going to do hero or zero RB, this is the room that I'm looking to have.
Yep. I like that room. And then as a result, you have nice wide receivers.
Oh, I love my wide receivers. I couldn't love them more. The first 3 alone could be just absolute target monsters on their team. And then Brian Thomas, Quentin Johnston, those guys are big play guys. Trey Harris, having that Chargers build. I have, I think, a couple other Chargers builds, and even Brazel there. He's a big play downfield guy too. So I like it a lot. Loveland, I went because of what was available to me and some of the guys that went ahead of me. I went with tight end. Like Loveland was the best value on the board. So Loveland, Gadsden, 2 guys coming off their rookie years, a lot of upside there. And then Greg Dulcich, more or less, that was just, there was no one really else on the board that I wanted, and I wanted to make sure and get someone. As of right now, he's the tight end 1 in Miami. We'll see what happens if they go like Sadiq or something like that. But yeah, I'm fine with Greg Dulcich. They've been gassing him up, so we'll see.
Yep, and both Loveland and Gadsden you got at ADP dips, so there was that as well. They fell into your lap.
Yeah, mean, the only reach that I had was Kenny Gainwell because I just kind of lost track of when my pick was. But other than that, I actually love this team. Any team that I'm going to have that's loaded at receiver, I'm going to just love naturally, because that's how I prefer to build teams. I'm not sure it's the best strategy given right now, but I actually really like my team a lot.
Yeah. Well, buddy, that was super fun. And then whenever we get back together next time, we're going to be going through rounds, 15 and 16?
15 and 16. Yep.
And that will be Tuesday night. and should be back at our normal time, probably 9 p.m. Tuesday night. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you want to handle? So, because we're wanting to cover all these before the NFL draft, or
We may do
do we want to?
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it off air and see
Okay.
if maybe we want to do Wednesday night as well, or just make the final show the Friday night, and we just we make it a little longer and talk a little bit more about rookies on that night. But we'll discuss that and see. Either way, we'll be back Tuesday night. So come draft with us, and we're so close. I cannot wait. We're probably just over a week away from the actual DraftKings main slate dropping, and that's whenever it's time to go ham for me. So I'm pumped.
Yep.
So Corey, thank you again. This was super fun. Everyone out there, have a great weekend, and until next time, keep drafting. See you guys.
See you guys.